Welcome back. Now let's talk communications. The Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, is the independent regulatory authority for the communications industry in Nigeria. The Commission is charged with the responsibility of regulating the supply of telecom services and facilities, promoting competition, and setting performance standards for telephone services in Nigeria. The NCC has declared 2017 the year of the telecom consumer. Now, to explain all this to us, it's my pleasure to welcome the Director, Consumer Affairs Bureau, Mr. Abdullahi Maikano. Good morning, Mr. Maikano.
Good morning. Yeah, good morning, madam. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
And the Head Legal and Regulatory Services, Mrs. Yetunde Akinloye, is also with us, both of them joining us from Abuja. Good morning, Mrs. Akinloye.
Good morning, Alero. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for coming. Now, let's begin by me asking, why did the NCC declare 2017, especially 2017, the year of the telecom consumer?
Alero, if you can recall, when the new chief executive of NCC was appointed and assumed duty, in one of the very first things the EVC did was to unveil his 8-point agenda. That ceremony took place in Lagos and Kano, and part of the 8-point agenda was to protect and empower consumers of telecommunication services in the country. Some of the strategies adopted in doing that was to first strengthen the Consumer Affairs Department of the Commission in order for it to be able to effectively deliver its mandate of providing information and education to the teeming public. And the second thing the new management did was to strengthen the contact center services and redesign it in such a way that it can now offer a long-time complaint handling time frame. Like now, consumers can complain within the hours of 8 in the morning and 8 p.m. Mondays to Saturdays. And the center now receive complaints not only in English but also in other languages, Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba, and Pidgin. And also added to that, more channels of complaining to the NCC were also added. Now, apart from calling the 622 number, you can also complain online via our web portal, as well as using Twitter, and you can also connect to us and complain to us through Facebook and several other social media services. And last but not the least, we have also added more staff in the Consumer Affairs Department, such that you can actually walk in either to the NCC head office here in Abuja or in any of our zonal offices located in Lagos, Port Harcourt, Kano, Ibadan, and so on. So with all this, the NCC now became more than ever ready to handle consumer complaints. Now, as we monitor the implementation of the 8-point agenda as it relates to the consumers, we realize, yes, quite a lot has been achieved, but quite more needs to be dealt with. For instance, we just reviewed an interim report of the Consumer Satisfaction Survey, and we found out that compared with what the same exercise carried out 2 years ago, there were marked improvement in terms of awareness of the NCC activities. But there is much more that needs to be done. Secondly, we also reviewed the complaints that we received for 2016. We noticed very, very low number. I can tell you less than 100,000 complaints were received for a whole year. So we noticed, we now thought something much more needs to be done in order for the
Thank you, Elijah.
Segment.
Oh God. Yeah, thank you. Let me bring in Mrs. Akinloye. Many people have alleged that their complaints, which are made to service providers, don't really get resolved. So when that happens, what avenues are open to the consumer?
Thank you, Alero. What we've said is that as a first point of call, consumers should please ensure that those complaints are made first and foremost to the operators. So you have a complaint against your service provider, please ensure that your service provider knows. If the problem or complaint is not resolved satisfactorily, then the next point of call should be the NCC. And just as the Director of Consumer Affairs has said, we have different channels on which consumers, telecom consumers can actually reach us. You can call us toll-free on the 622 number. You can reach us through the Twitter handle ConsumersNCC at ConsumersNCC. You can send a mail to us on ncc.gov.ng. You can also walk into any of our zonal offices. And we've had that happen, which is something, is an ongoing thing. We always get complaints. Sometimes they complain by coming into our offices. Sometimes they send us mails. Sometimes it's through letters. Some even engage lawyers to write to us directly, and we take up those complaints and investigate by taking them up also with the operators and try as much as possible to resolve those matters. We also find that sometimes we're inundated with issues that have no bearing to our mandate. So someone has entered into a tenancy agreement with a telecom operator which has gone awry somewhere or the other, and they escalate it to us. We do not push them away. We'll say, okay, we'll take on your complaint. However, it's not our mandate, but we will bring it to the attention of our licensee. So there are various forms of complaining to us. Also, we have different outreach programs where we also encourage consumers to come. Like we have the Telecom Consumer Parliament, which is held in the state capitals. We have the town hall meetings where we also listen and entertain complaints, and we ensure that at those forums what we do is actually bring the consumers and the operators together so that those complaints can be treated instantly, even as they are being made. For those that are not able to be treated instantly, then they take the details away and get back. And we also ensure that we monitor that these cases are resolved as quickly as possible, and we also ensure that the consumer is actually satisfied with whatever methods or whatever compensation is paid by the network operator. Thank you.
There are lots of consumers in the rural areas as well. How do you get these messages to the rural areas so that they are also in the know of 622, for instance, and they also know that any complaint that they have must first of all go to the operator before they come to the NCC? All those kinds of messages. How do they get to the rural people?